For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Another walkout was staged yesterday by the leader of the parliamentary opposition. Will minibus drivers go on strike because of the deplorable state of our roads and the impact it is having on them, in particular, them having to purchase parts for their vehicles ever so often? And what a Catholic priest has to say about the observance of Lent in St. Lucia. Welcome to another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world. This is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page. Today, of course, Valentine's Day. People are in red. Some people are in red and white. People have plans to go out to dinner with the better half and so on. So my good friend and the reader of the comments in the chat room, Kimani, got you a gift for Valentine's Day. It's a lollipop. Here you are.
Thank you
Enjoy.
so much.
Okay? Go suck on this.
I shall.
Of course, during the course of the broadcast, we will be taking your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. That's 716-2026. And as I said earlier on, Kimani will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Sure, many of you were not surprised. There was yet another walkout staged in the island's parliament yesterday. What prompted this? Well, the government was seeking permission to borrow over US $42.7 million, and that is for the Recovery and Resilience Building Policy-Based Loan. Now, $42 million, that is a lot of money. A lot of money. And so the leader of the opposition, he felt that he was being treated unfairly yet again because maybe, according to him, there was some kind of machination to prevent him from addressing that particular matter as well as other issues that were before the parliament yesterday. It was a case of, according to him, the democratic process again being abused in St. Lucia and not ensuring that there is transparency as far as what is being done in the name of the people of this country, and again robbing him of an opportunity to address those issues. We'll be hearing from the leader of the opposition in just a moment, but exactly what transpired, we will take you back to that incident yesterday in the island's parliament, and presiding over the affairs, the speaker, Mr. Jeremiah Norbert. Don't know why the substantive holder of that post, Mr. Claudius Francis, was absent yesterday. But Mr. Jeremiah Norbert is the deputy speaker, and then he was deputizing for Mr. Claudius Francis. Let us watch carefully, those of you watching on Facebook as well as on YouTube, and let us listen as well.
Mr. Speaker, this
Honorable Prime Minister,
this bill, Mr. Speaker, has met the approval of members of the House. So this resolution, Mr. Speaker, so I move that.
since the time? Since the time? Go ahead, Prime Minister.
Really? Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honestly, you looked over at me, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Miku South.
Yes.
You will stand when the Speaker acknowledges you.
I thought you acknowledged me.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Member for Miku South.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr.
In this honorable House,
yes, Mr. Speaker.
you will stand
yes, Mr. Speaker.
when the Speaker acknowledges you.
Speaker, I'm asking.
Member for
Speaker,
Miku South.
I looked at you and
Member
put
for Miku South.
Mic on, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Miku South.
Mr.
You
Speaker,
understand?
I am not going to sit down, Mr. Speaker.
Mr.
I am demanding.
If you are not going to sit down, member,
come here and represent the people from Miku South and the people of this country. That's not right, Mr. Speaker. We're coming to this house to borrow $40 million US, and you want to close the debate just like that?
Member,
and I had my speaker up. Come on, come on,
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Even if, Mr. Speaker, the member from Miku South continues to want to disrespect this honorable House, I think, Mr. Speaker, that in the interest of the people hearing the misinformation that he will utter, and the fact that I have an opportunity to respond, Mr. Speaker, I beg you to, even if his light came on after mine, I beg you to allow him to continue. Because there's nothing he can say there that I cannot. But Mr. This disrespect is only right, Mr. Speaker, has happened to every speaker in this honorable House. The member from Miku South has disrespected every speaker in this honorable House. One of his own speakers had to be carried out of this House after he disrespected her in his parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, in this regard, I yield.
members, let's get something straight. The chair, it's not Honorable Jeremiah, but the chair, whoever sits in the chair, runs the business of the House. Everyone in this House knows how we operate. You turn on your light and you catch the Speaker's eye. I looked all around. I looked again. I can confirm that I looked on more than 2 occasions. I looked around. Nobody turned on their lights. And there was sufficient time to turn on the lights. And then there's a cat and mouse. The Prime Minister turns on his light and you run to turn on your light. And then we're not going to play these games. I'm not going to accept it. I do not know which other speaker accepted it. This speaker is not going to accept it. And in an attempt to be fair, we have to take the business of this House seriously. It cannot be cat and mouse. We have young people looking at the proceedings happening in this House, and we have to take the business of this House, of this honorable House, seriously. And I'm not going to tolerate, and nobody is going to say in this House when I sit in this chair that they're not going to take their seat and that you're going to proceed. This is not going to happen under my watch. Whatever action has to happen to ensure that this House is running a way that is cordial, I'm going to make sure that this House is running a way that's cordial. I'm not going to accept this from anybody, absolutely anybody. Not a member of the opposition, not a member of this government. And this is the position that I'm going to stand by. This cat and mouse and childish game, we cannot continue like that in this House.
million US dollar road don't come and take. Do not
Member,
let anybody-
member,
Shame on you all.
member.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. Okay? I put on my life, and if you don't see the importance of it, then so be it. And I think those are the people of solution. But they ask you to speak. I don't need the people of solution. Who's asking to speak? Come on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, member. Honorable Prime Minister.
40 million US dollars don't come in tomorrow. You don't want anybody to speak. Why don't have to highlight that?
Mr. Speaker,
Now know the truth.
since the member from
Now know what the truth is.
since the member from Microsoft,
Don't talk about putting people.
Member, you're not going to disturb. You're not going to disturb this honorable house. You're not going to disturb this honorable house.
You've disturbed it. You've disturbed
Member.
the democracy of the country.
Member.
You've disturbed the democracy.
You're not going to disturb this honorable house.
You've disturbed the democracy of the country. I hope you can live with it.
Member for Castries East, please continue.
Mr. Speaker, I want to make it clear for the record, Mr. Speaker, that I yielded to the member from Miku South. I said that even if he did not put his mic on, even if mine was on before him, for the interest of me being able to respond to the misinformation that he will utter, Mr. Speaker, I yielded. I want the record to show that I yielded for the member from Miku South. But as usual, seeking sympathy, he refused to speak, Mr. Speaker.
Just so there from the island's Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance, Mr. Philip J. Pierre. So moments after the walkout by the leader of the opposition, he took to social media and he issued a statement. So we will hear from the leader of the opposition right now regarding what transpired in the Parliament yesterday.
At the House of Parliament this afternoon, the government, represented by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, presented a motion to borrow 100 million EC dollars from the CDB on what they call a policy-based loan, or as we know, as a budgetary support loan. The Prime Minister revealed that one of the conditions to obtain that loan approval from CDB is that the government had to implement a 2.5% tax. So the Prime Minister is now had to admit, after months of lying to the public of solution, that the 2.5% health and security levy was never to do with health and security. It was never intended to help health and security. That this was an effort to raise monies to help pay for the loan. This is just one of numerous lies that the Prime Minister revealed in his presentation. If that was not bad enough, that when he finished his presentation, that no one from the government side chose to speak. I then pressed my button, my light, and the Prime Minister also pressed his light. And the Speaker of the House chose to recognize the Prime Minister and not to give anyone else an opportunity to rebut what was said. Nobody else to have a voice for the people of this country. No one else to ask questions and to point out the hypocrisy and the lies in the statement that the Prime Minister made. I stood my ground. I made it clear that I was not going to leave until I was given an opportunity to speak. The Prime Minister intervened, and after chastising me, said that he was going to ask the Speaker to allow me to speak. The Speaker, being a new Speaker, not understanding the importance of democracy and the people's voice and the purpose of Parliament, in order that voices are heard. That's why certain conditions and protections are provided to the parliamentarians. To speak, to say what is wrong, and to ask questions. Went on a tirade as how he's a new speaker, and he's not going to tolerate this, and he's going to hold his line. At that point, I had no choice but to leave, because my voice was going to be denied defending the people of this country, holding this government accountable for how they intended to spend the $100 million. And more importantly, to hold them accountable for the lies that they said.
Leader of the Parliamentary Opposition, Mr. Alan Chastney. We take your calls right now at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And Kimani is monitoring the chat room. She will be going through some of your comments. I honestly believe that the leader of the Parliamentary Opposition should have taken every opportunity to speak on this important matter yesterday. And just looking at that clip, many of you on Facebook and on YouTube can see the speaker. From my vantage point, he's trying to catch the attention of any one of the MPs who would want to make a contribution. He looked around the table, and that's what I believe transpired, and eventually saw that the Prime Minister's light or the mic was on, and therefore he ventured to ask the Prime Minister to make his contribution. That is what I saw from my vantage point. So I believe that the leader of the opposition should have taken the opportunity, considering that the Prime Minister yielded to him. He should have taken the opportunity to address that issue and to speak. And also give the Speaker of the House the opportunity as well to either say to him, go ahead with your contribution, or I will not allow you to speak. That is my perspective on this issue. The leader of the opposition might have lost an opportunity to address that very important matter in the island's parliament. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Kimani, what is happening in the chat room? What are the people saying?
I think you have an idea of what the people are saying, Tim. Someone says he looked around or mainly to his left or asking. Another comment, Tim may look only on the government side. Another comment, the Prime Minister is not borrowing money, he is borrowing checks. Someone says in the chat room, let's see. That's about it, Tim. But I'm sure you have an idea of what's happening in the chat room.
No, I'm not paying attention. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message. Tim, where is Bradley Felix? He seems to be missing in action. Well, he was in the Parliament yesterday. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, we lost that call. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through right now. Somebody says, Tim, the parents need to meet the teachers halfway to stop what's going on in the school. The current, no, that's an old contribution. The speaker has attitude towards former Prime Minister for an MP for Miku South. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air.
Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Rick.
I'm amazed I got there so quickly, but I wanted to be first before it sounded like as if I was echoed one side or another. You hear me clearly?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. I disagree with you, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. The most important aspect of that episode for me, forget the lights, because, you know, a speaker can choose to see what he wants to see, and nobody can argue with what he saw first or didn't see first, okay?
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Even in the House of Commons or Lords, I was mistaken, in England, about 60 people stand up right away they want to speak. And the minute the speaker has nodded in one direction, everybody takes a seat. Everybody sits down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not too crazy on I'm not going to make any real pronouncement on whether the light came on or who saw the light or what is important to me. And I'm going to take my time saying that was the uncommon generosity, magnanimity, and possible appreciation of what was going on, what was before the House, that the Prime Minister said not once, but twice, that he was yielding, whether light came on or not, I'm paraphrasing, he was yielding and allowed to give the opposition leader a moment to speak. Am I right on that so far?
You're correct. That is all the reason why the leader of the opposition should have taken
May I continue?
this opportunity to speak.
May I continue, please?
You may speak now. You may speak now.
Okay. At that point, Tim, you see, we have formed the impression that the Speaker of the House can insult parliamentarians on either side, say whatever he chooses or whatever. That's not true. It is expected that the Speaker of the House will show an example of how he addresses members. Those members don't speak in their own personal capacity. They speak in representation of thousands of people, so that what you say and how you say it to the member on either side affects the people they represent. So you can show contempt for the people that he represents by simply showing contempt for him in the House. Am I clear on that?
Very.
Good. So the Speaker does not have any special power that allows him basically to talk any old how, any insulting, any lecturing, anything at all to a member. He doesn't have that. And when the Prime Minister says, the Prime Minister, not just an ordinary member, says, I yield, all the Speaker need have done there is turn around and nod to the opposition leader to speak. He did not do that. He chose to deliver a lecture, the sound of which we have grown accustomed to, like people acting as judges and teachers and lecturers, which they are not. Plus, that Speaker is highly inexperienced. But a precedent has been set for a while now about how speakers address MPs. There was one particular loving friend of mine, speaker, who got into a halakas with an MP, and we now have it on legend, where the MP said, since when is it your job to lecture me on contracts? You may be a QC, but you're not a QC in the House. You're only the Speaker in the House. So don't lecture to me on that, and don't argue with me either. Do your job. Since when is your role? To what?
Since when that's your role?
Since when that's your role? Those things are interesting. So for me, the hero of the day was the Prime Minister, who most unusually didn't have to, and the Speaker had already told him to go ahead and speak. But he said to the Speaker, I yield. And not once, he said it twice. And instead of allowing the leader of the opposition to speak in silence, that Speaker chooses to denigrate, speak insultingly to my mind, to the leader of the opposition, who represents how many 100,000 people in the country. Do I bless the walkout? I don't give a damn one way or the other, because all that he would say would be registered in Hansard, or others would attack it or whatever. And in any event, as the leader of the opposition, he can come out and talk to the press. He can hold press conferences and say his side of the story. But it's not uncommon to see people walking out. As a matter of fact, ironically, when the leader of the opposition stood near and he was talking even after he was halfway walking out, it reminded me very, very much of an earlier tape that you have, exactly the same, where the Prime Minister, then part of the opposition, stood there and for about 10 minutes argued, bantered, whatever, with the then Speaker of the House, Matt Frey. It has become commonplace, this walking out and whatever it is. I'm not getting involved in that. By now, it's commonplace. But I thought it's worth underscoring the magnanimity of the Prime Minister and the determination of the Speaker not to nod and let the opposition leader speak, but rather to deliver what I thought was a schoolmasterly kind of lecture to the Prime Minister. Cat among the pigeons. Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you so much. Somebody says the new speaker, same old political playbook. Let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says, am I missing something? Because I thought I heard the speaker say that he made a decision and he stands by before the leader of the opposition walked out. In the chat room, Kimani, what is taking place there?
Someone says it was all a performance, a well-rehearsed one. Another comment in the chat room, relax on the speaker being new and inexperienced. We all was new at a job opposition in our lifetime. Another comment, I always see journalists contribute to this mayhem because we do not have quality journalists to analyze important issues in St. Lucia, but go on emotions. Another comment, why did he run? The opposition leader should have represented the people. Someone says, purple is the color of passion and love. Tim, looks like you got some last night. You're smiling like a Cheshire cat. Another comment, Tim, a few weeks ago you put on the radio, put the radio station on notice. Hope you get paid for Valentine's Day today.
WhatsApp message, there was an incident at Trozelle Secondary involving a student in which he threatened a teacher. The student is known to be affiliated with a gang. What has the ministry and the student council to say about that? And let me see if I have some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, in all honesty, I think Mr. Shas should step down and just finish with this politics thing. The Prime Minister himself telling someone to speak with a piece of jeté parole behind it. We need a new generation of politicians in St. Lucia because these guys are actually draining the country in all honesty. I'm in my 40s and I've been hearing the same old names from time I was in my late teens. Another one says, simply, I totally agree with Rick. And any more comments in the chat room, Kimani?
Someone says, too much disrespect in the House. The opposition leader should have stayed. But someone says, Alan walked out alone when Pip walked out with all his members. Another comment, there was no silence, so the yielding was almost like a prank. Some people are saying you are right, Rick, or agreeing with his contribution.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have a call. Let's go to that contributor. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, we have lost the call. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Still to come on the broadcast. Will minibus drivers take protest action for the deplorable state of the nation's roads? As we take a call. Good afternoon to you. Please go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, Mrs. Nancy Giles. Good afternoon to you.
Timothy, Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to Kimani. I don't think that I have spoken to you for the year. This is my first call to NewsSpin for the year.
Yes, that's the first encounter we're having.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Timothy, honestly, I didn't really mean to call today with reference to what transpired. And I don't think I want to speak too much about what happened, except maybe from my point of view. Is even before I called you, I decided to go back and look at the tape again. I think sometimes I may not necessarily agree with your point of view in terms of what the leader of the opposition should have done or should not have done. We always say it's he who is in the hot seat knows it, right, Timothy?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're in a particular situation, on hindsight, somebody on the outside looking in may have thought that this is the way you should have handled it. But at the spur of the moment, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And so when I looked back at the tape again, just before I spoke to you, I just wanted to be sure that if it were me, the leader of the opposition, what choice I would have had. And so looking at the final words of Jeremiah, after the Prime Minister said he yielded, all the JT Powell and everything else, etc., Jeremiah, who's the speaker, went into a tirade. And perhaps that's where I agree with Rick. The standing orders are very clear. I don't say that perhaps the Jeremiah being the speaker should not have cautioned the House to say, listen, this is the light I caught first, etc., etc. But to have gone in a tantrum, and for me that was really speaking down at the members, because you being the speaker does not mean that you're a school principal, that you have to speak down and discipline people, etc., etc. So for me, it was unnecessary, the way he was talking down, and it did not seem that he was talking to the members of Parliament. It felt like he was talking directly to the leader of the opposition, and that is very disrespectful. I find very, very disrespectful. But in any event, he went on to say that he's not going to tolerate it, and that he's the one in charge of this house, and when I'm sitting in this chair, I'm not going to tolerate anybody saying that they will not sit down, etc. And this cat and mouse game that we are playing, we cannot continue in this house. And then he said, this is my position, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. And I looked at it slowly, Timothy, and he stopped, and he said nothing. He did not acknowledge the leader of the opposition to ensure that, okay, because the Prime Minister had yielded, give the go-ahead to the leader of the opposition to make his presentation. Nor did he go back to the Prime Minister. But for me, the role of the Speaker would have been, after you've given your tirade or responses, whatever it is you were saying, the least, if you were going to allow the leader of the opposition to speak, is to say, you can go ahead and speak, leader of the opposition. He never did that. He just sat down. As a matter of fact, he did not even turn off his mic. Because if you look at the tape, his mic was still on. And you cannot speak when the speaker's mic is on. So in my mind, I don't think the leader of the opposition had any other choice, because since he was not going to be allowed to speak, but to stand up and to say that this is really unfair. And here's what it is. The Prime Minister laid a bill to borrow $42 million, or approximately about $100 million. And the money, he said, was a policy-based loan. And I wrote it down very, very clearly. He said that this was a policy-based loan. And I want St. Lucians to listen to me, you know. UWP as well, because I'm a member of the UWP. You see, sometimes, Timothy, when we say certain things and we are deliberately misleading or lying to the public, sometimes when the truth comes out, we don't even realize what we are doing because the truth comes out. The Prime Minister said that there were some prerequisites to this policy-based loan. Am I correct so far, Tim?
Yes, ma'am.
He said that there were prerequisites to this policy-based loan, meaning that there were certain things that he needed to do before he could access the loan. And he said that there were 8 things that he needed to do before he could access the loan. Am I correct so far, Tim?
Yeah.
Number 1, he said the first thing that the government had to do was to enhance tax revenue and to support fiscal stability. That is the reason we had to implement the 2.5 health and security levy. And I stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
You see the truth? And this is why no member of Parliament stood up to say anything. Because every single one of them, Timothy, they were in on it. They knew very well from last year, when they came out with that 2.5 levy, that it was never about health and security. It was always about them enhancing tax revenue and collecting more money on the poor people of St. Lucia. And they hid it under a 2.5 tax health and security levy. And in my presentation in the Senate, Timothy, I went at length through the budget to show that there was no budgetary statement, no allocation, no income or revenue generated by that 2.5 levy. You know why, Timothy? Because when the estimates were prepared, there was nothing about a 2.5 levy. They went to Parliament and they approved the estimates, and the levy was never spoken about in the Prime Minister's statement. You remember that? The Prime Minister only spoke about that levy when he made his budget address, which was months afterwards. And after they passed the estimates, they realized there would be a shortfall of revenue. Then they went to the CDP to get money, and the CDP said, well, I can give you money, but you need to do A, B, C, D. And one of them was to include a tax, was to implement a tax. So today, The people of St. Lucia are seeing the truth, and maybe that is why Jeremiah and everybody else in that parliament did not want the leader of the opposition to speak, because I can guarantee you Alan Shastley picked it up right away. He picked it up right away that here you had a prime minister just a few months ago who said that he was implementing a 2.5 tax health and security levy. Timothy, are you aware that he said over $11 million so far?
The last time I heard the prime minister said it was about up to October, I think, recently $10.5 million would have been generated.
10.5. So if it was October, we're in February, we can assume they've collected a little more than over 5. But let's say $10.5 million, Timothy. They have collected $10.5 million. Have you seen any change, any allocation, any new policy with reference to health in this country?
Health or security?
Have you seen any new policy, any new allocation with reference to security in this country? Crime continues to rise. Robberies continue to rise. Housebreaking, the police are throwing their hands in the air. No new initiatives, no money is allocated separately to the police or to healthcare. No medicines in the health facilities. Appa had a talk show recently. There was no toilet paper. He said to, did you remember? He said that a friend of his was in the aisle and he was covered with a shower curtain. Not even bed sheets we had in the hospital. And you've collected $10.5 million. You say it is for health and security. All the time lying to the people of St. Lucia. And today, you're going to the CDB to borrow $100 million for budgetary support. That's what he says it's for. Budgetary support to continue to pay for their comrades, their friends, their families, their consultants, and all these people they're hiring on the backs of St. Lucia. That is what the issue is. And that is why I believe Jeremiah and nobody else wanted Alan Shastley to speak. So in the final analysis, I think Alan Shastley did what he felt he had to do at the time. He was not going to be allowed to speak. He was denied speaking, and so it made no sense for him to remain in the parliament. But Alan Shastley will speak, Timothy. I want to say to the people of St. Lucia, he will speak. He will not be silent, because 39,000 people voted for Alan Shastley and the United Workers' Party, and they will not be denied. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. Just heard there from Mrs. Nancy Charles of the opposition United Workers' Party. Still to come, we'll be hearing from a representative of the island's minibus sector or minibus drivers. And the question is, will minibus drivers take protest action due to the deplorable state of our roads and the impact on their vehicles? Back in just a bit.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 4555.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593 or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucilec.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of Shopay's online or walk-in service. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
Celebrate Independence the KFC way. From January 17th to February 29th, grab the Independence box at KFC. Celebrate 45 years of independence as you indulge in 1 sandwich, 5 dipping wings, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 regular drinks, all for only $45. Unbox and savor the taste of freedom with an Independence big box at KFC.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video, can't stop. Unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $ to activate.
Now that's the new vibe and the lingo. Yes. More upon more, see how the tingo. Is more wet flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
The government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, continues to provide more for pregnant women in St. Lucia. Through maternal and child health services under universal health coverage, pregnant women will receive laboratory and ultrasound services through community wellness centers island-wide at no cost. From care during and after pregnancy, vaccinations, family planning to nutritional and mental health counseling, we are here to support you. Take advantage of our weekly services at no cost. And from 1st June 2023, the addition of laboratory and ultrasound services will ease the pressure to aid healthier and safer delivery for you and your baby. Visit your nearest wellness center to register for universal health coverage. For more information, call 468-5300 or 468-5328.
will the National Council have a major strike? The answer is yes and no. Okay. We believe in negotiating. We believe in and appreciative of what the governments are giving us, both administrations are giving us in reference to keep us afloat. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we wouldn't necessarily pull a strike unless they put our back against the wall. Presently, the three individuals that I mentioned, including the chief engineer, these individuals is just a call away from me. So if an association believe that their road is really bad, they call the National Council or they're agitating, I'll call the chief and say, hey, if you don't want a strike, you can, and they will assist. Okay. Because some of these roads are roads that should not be patched; they should be repaired,
entirely
rehabilitated.
Yeah.
And so our last meeting this week was to show us all the roads that are slated for reconstruction and stuff like that. So it makes no logical sense to go working on some of these roads. Yes, you can keep them motorable, but you really should not be spending money on them. Now, I'm not a PR for the government. I should not even say that, because we also have given the government a mandate in reference to the cul-de-sac road.
Okay, you did.
You see this bypass by the new bridge?
Yep.
If this thing is not done, we will speak out. But we've been given the assurance as I speak that something is being done. Okay. We're given the assurance that directives were given to deal with the Castries Soufre Road, especially from the Bouton Gap coming back to Canries, because I don't think there's road there anymore.
Right.
I don't think we've spoken to the ministry, reference that, and they've given us the directive that the contractor on ground is assisting in making these areas motorable. Mm-hmm. And we're also given the assurance that lighting will be put in these areas, because when I go down there evening time, bro, I don't pass back this way. There's no lights, no lights on that side, so I just go wrong, you know. So we are in constant discussion with the government. As we speak, if you notice, there's a lot of potholing being done all over the place like crazy. All this is being discussed with the National Council. We are in dialogue with them. If I pass somewhere, so for example, I pass through through Moshi. When you pass through Plateau, you're going down to, like, you will pass through Moshi. Instead of going down to Monnier, you go through Plateau. Okay. And you can end up through Moshi.
Yep.
And you go for River Mita and these places. They started potholing there. They stopped. I called and say, hey, you need to continue that, because from my home at Forester to up north through that road, 20 minutes. Okay. Why not make this bypass road much better? Less people would be on the highway. Okay. So yes, we are in discussion with them.
President of the National Council on Public Transportation, Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand, speaking during an appearance this morning on Power 97.9 morning program, Threesome in the Morning with Big Slim and QQ. Your calls, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. So the president of the NCOPT says that they've been given the assurance by the authorities that our roads will be fixed. And he also says, no strike unless they put our back against the wall. They have not done that still, Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Timothy, a pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW on the line, Timothy. Timothy, I was just listening to Nancy Charles, and I must say that I have concurred with everything that she said. This lady has true leadership qualities in her, Timothy, and she's one of the best members of the United Workers' Party, Timothy. Timothy, I want to know what is the government doing with the 2.5% levy. And I want the chief medical officer to come to tell me why is the Dennery Hospital doesn't have any beds and it closes at 12 midnight? I want the chief medical officer to come to tell me why is it the Dennery Hospital closes at 12 midnight and there is no beds for patients to stay overnight, or basically, Timothy, to be, to be at the hospital for a certain length of time. I want to know, we are paying 2.5% levy for security and health. We cannot afford to have people taking IV on a chair, you understand, at the Millennium Heights Hospital, or, at the Dennery Hospital. If they're short of medication, why are we paying 2.5%? The government needs to come out and tell us, because, Timothy, we in St. Lucia, we cannot understand. The government has collected what? $10 million? And what have they done with it? We all know they haven't done anything with it, Timothy. And we need the chief medical officer to come and tell us about what our concern at the Dennery Hospital and at the Millennium Heights Hospital. Timothy, I thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979. I think we have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon to you. You on the air? Hello? Okay, let's try again. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, Kim. I just want to ask you one question.
Beg your pardon?
I'm just going to ask you one question. The Speaker of the House, see the Speaker of the House tell me that he can move on with his contribution?
Can you repeat? Because I did not hear what you said, exactly what you said. Hello? Okay, we lost the call. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have another call. Let's try another line. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Happy Valentine's Day to you and to Power 97.9 FM and to Kimani. Tim, let me ask you a question. When in the real world, like my good friend Rick will say, in the real world, when politicians or House of Representatives lie to I shouldn't say lie or give misinformation when it comes to the public business, what are the consequences of that?
Well, the consequences are many. Sometimes you are censured. You are disciplined in one form or the other. You're asked to apologize, withdraw the statement, things of that nature.
Okay, now I know you do not like people to refer to persons as liars, but I'll be very diplomatic in my language here. The Prime Minister Philip Yepie misrepresented the truth when it came to the 2.5% levy. He said categorically that the 2.5% levy was solely for health and security. Now we're hearing that it was not intended for health and security, it was to repay a loan. Tim, we were conned, as a country. Here it is now, we were conned as a people, so we St. Lucians paying the 2.5% levy, in addition to the extra $1.50 on gas. The Labour Party government worked in $10.5 million in excess revenue on the backs of the poor people, only to find out that it was not for health and security. And we should have figured that out a long time ago, Tim, because the hospitals have no medication, no bed sheets, there's no new initiative that came out, no new plan to improve the health sector. The current situation is terrible. So we should have known that all along. We're conned. We were lied to by this Prime Minister. And that's why I ask you the question, what are the consequences? I pose that question to you, Tim, because if you have a Prime Minister who did not speak the truth in Parliament, what is the consequence? We cannot just sit idly by and say, okay, Philip J.P., who was Prime Minister, said that the 2.5% was solely for health and security. And in truth and in fact, we're hearing that it was not for health and security, it was for to repay a loan. What are the consequences, Tim? You answer me. What in the present context of what I'm referring to here, what do you think should be the consequence of a Prime Minister who stood up in Parliament, said that the 2.5% levy was for health and security, only to find out it was to repay a loan? What is the consequence in the context of what I'm referring to?
We'll call it the information. The information is before the people of St. Lucia, and the people of St. Lucia as a collective ought to make a determination as to what should happen.
Well, I would say to St. Lucians, my fellow St. Lucians, you were lied to by Philip J.P., and you should ask Philip J.P. for a refund. Persons like you, Tim, should galvanize support and ask the Prime Minister, the Labour Party administration, that we taxpayers want a refund because we were conned, we were fooled. And that's my point, Tim. That's my take on it.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Think we have another call this time via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. You are on the air. Hello.
Yes, bel bon après-midi pour Monsieur Tim.
Bon après-midi, Monsieur Rigobert.
Pour Kimani. OK?
Good afternoon.
Tim, l'année sa bagay qui ka aller à pays avec il ka sound wrong mais moi pas ça porter témoignage pour tout bagay. Vous comprenez? Because moi concern about chimère, mais yon homme qui ni machine, il ka décambrer les machines. Il s'est parlé plus, passé moins. So, on a parlé à un point santé, on a health level I'm going there, team. You understand? And I agree with the people that are making the complaints for the 2.5% for the health. You understand? And I'm talking from experience, team. I'm a sick person, and I tell you, when you look at my little table there, you're thinking it's a pharmacy that there's so much different meds I have to take on a daily basis. Not to a cure, but just to ease the squeeze.
Right.
And Friday, my caregiver went down to look for meds at St. Jude. Nothing on your team. You understand? They said they will get something on Monday. When we went on Monday, before we went on Monday, because it's a waste of time again for paying transportation, I called. They said they would have had them on Monday. Nothing on the Monday. Now, when I say nothing, I want some people to get me straight. I am not saying there was nothing at all, but nothing whatsoever that I was using. You understand?
Right.
Now, all the pharmacies have, night meds have, the surrounding pharmacies have. So it leaves me with one question. You understand? Why is not the factory that doing them as that burn down, of course? Why they have, and we, the government, cannot get it in St. Jude and at the hospital, at the health centers, where it can be a little cheaper for us, and you call yourself a government for the Mali way. You understand? For to me, it makes no sense. You understand? When you look at the other point, I'm trying to say that again, is you look at the surrounding, even with the thing like the sugar. All around us have sugar, and we cannot get sugar. Something is wrong somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? Something is definitely wrong. So if you are collecting those money for health, and you have those monies, I don't see no reason why we could not get the medication that we need at the health centers. You understand? Tim will talk some other time again. Okay, you have a blessed and productive day.
You too as well. Thank you so much for calling, Mr. Rigobert. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Let's take another call. Hello, good afternoon.
Bon après-midi, M. Kim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Oui, eh bien, M. Kim, ça c'est un hockey pour nation cette ici. Pour cette ici, tenir un bon nom qu'a conduit le pays, si tout coronavirus frappe la terre, M. Chassenay et puis l'administration, ils travaillent très bien. Et puis, maman, cette ici décidé, M. Chassenay pas de passer, ils ont électé un homme qui parmi pièce sévère. Monsieur Tim, l'aime qu'à garder Kay Parlement, Monsieur Tim. Là, comme si dit Kay Parlement là, comme si dit l'anima grit la rose, moun ka en poste et de en roi. C'est pour ça na Kay Parlement est en cette ici. Moi, comment déjà cette ici? Qui ça y a attendre pour nous descendre devant le Parlement, pour nous empêcher Richard Frederick d'entrer dans le Parlement nous en cette ici. Parce que c'est assez, c'est moi pas ça pour encore. Puisque là, on a dit, moi, pour un Parlement, c'est eux qui pour indiquer nation. Eux qui fait mon plus couillon en pays. Hein? Bon, c'est bagaille ça là qui a pour un Parlement cette ici, c'est comment il y a gouvernement ça qui là, qui ça venu exauver qui? Ça c'est une question pour nous commander nous nation. Mais c'est comment qu'a parlé là-bas là? L'année Sports en 2009. Et puis Sean Edward comme ministre éducation, il a quatre porté et puis la panique. Alors question me commander ministre pour ça c'est Kinson Kazimi. Est-ce que ce pays pas payé aussi ça fait en laisse la panique? Administration ça là qui là pour le présentement. Yo ja lâche pour maman pays ça là, servi pas pichot et puis me ka crier sur whole nation cette ici. On nous met les affaires couler à côté et on nous goumé bay pays nous pour nous sauver pays nous. C'est ça mon ka quitter après-midi à monsieur.
Merci tout bonnement, Kola. We are very much into the Lenten season. It commenced today. What are your thoughts? Are you still the traditionalist, the guy or the lady would still be observing Lent during this particular period, and then you'd be denying yourself certain pleasures, like going out and taking part in various social activities, dances, fetes, etc.? Your thoughts on this in just a moment as we continue to air on Power 97.9 FM and also feature on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page, the most monitored talk show in the world, NewsSpin.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Coming soon, the same excellent Lucia service in a new location at Daisy Avenue in Sanssouci, Castries. Thanks for your patience.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video, can't stop. Unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $ to activate.
Now that's the new vibe and the lingo. Yes. More upon more, see how the tingo. It's more wet flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
An exquisite 3-bedroom modern villa, panoramic ocean views, well-equipped modern appliances, a plunge pool. Bon Esprit Villa. For that quiet getaway in a lush green space. Your home away from home. Understated decadence, tranquility, and harmony. For special occasions and weekend getaways, the perfect escape. Bon Esprit Villa. Book now. Call 486-7965.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel, and shoulder pain, cramps, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Gouvernement Saint-Lucie qui travaille avec ministre pour santé bien important, ex affaires grand monde et ka offert plus pour femmes qui enceintes en Saint-Lucie. En bas plan Universal Health Coverage avec service pour maman et riche, provision déjà faite pour femmes enceintes joindre service laboratoire et sondage sans payer des sous. Yo ka joindre aussi vaccine, conseil pour bâtir famille, information à sous nourriture et conseil pour santé sévère. Nous là pour supporter. Venez et prendre l'avantage de service là tous les semaines sans payer des sous. Commencez le 1er juin 2023. Service laboratoire et sondage pour un lien qui aide à mettre femmes enceintes en plus bonne santé et fait plus sauve pour maman et riche. Visitez Health Center qui plus pro là et enregistrez pour Universal.
Embrace the magic of the night with someone special by your side. KFC Chicken Nights, a love story waiting to unfold. Sundays to Thursdays, 6 p.m. to closing, just for $35. Share 4 pieces of delectable KFC chicken, 3 tender strips, and 2 regular fries. This enchanting deal is yours to savor at all KFC locations because love knows no boundaries. Having chicken tonight? Make it finger-licking good with KFC's Chicken Nights, where love and flavor come together for a night to remember.
Lent for us Catholics is sacred, and as a country, we have lost it. We have lost it, and I blame and I say it with no reservations and no apologies. A lot of our media houses have contributed to what we're experiencing today. When I was growing up, Loteton Kawem, even music as radio a take a tone down. Actuellement, you can jouer toute bêtise par de Kawem. Actuellement, you need toute fête par de Kawem. Mais bah là qui a cassé chez moi, à deux moun qui croient quoi yo catholique, c'est yo qui en dit dans. Et que ça pas bon. Jusqu'à danse qui te ka fermé. Actuellement c'est qu'à danse a ouvert lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi. Ça pas bon. So as a parish, we will make it our business to observe that sacred time.
You just heard there from Father Albert, that clip extracted from a DBS News World story which was aired last evening. Are you still observing Lent, Kimani? Because I think this is a tradition which is dying quickly. You have traditionalists, you have particularly mature citizens, people who attend the church, ever so often every Sunday and during the week, etc. Particularly the Catholic Church, they would observe it. But this breed, this young section of our society, young people, are just not into those traditional things like La Wars and La Marguerite and the Lenten season.
But who raised them, Tim?
Who raised them?
Yeah, this generation. Who raised them?
But I think it's the inability of adults to influence their children. And in this particular area of technology, children have their own, point of view, their own mindset. They are likely to be more liberal, as opposed to, being traditional in terms of the Lent and so on, which calls for some form of self-denial. Denying yourself certain pleasures, drinking
just said
and going to parties and boat rides and so on. So I will not blame entirely the media, the broadcast media, radio and television, although unfortunately with so many media houses competing for advertising, you really cannot tone down. If you tone down, it is to your detriment. If you're old school, it's to your detriment. If you're traditional, it is to your detriment. You have to be very competitive. And radio stations are not competing among themselves. You're also competing against social media.
Technology.
WhatsApp, your YouTube, TikTok, etc. So it is the responsibility of the church to lead this particular effort, to ensure that it can convince more people to observe the Lenten period. And also the fact that we do not have carnival during just before Lent, the observance of Lent. We no longer have carnival in February. It is now in July. So people have really forgotten about Ash Wednesday, because Ash Wednesday would be immediately after Carnival Tuesday in St. Lucia, as is the case in Trinidad and Tobago, Dominica, and also in Martinique.
And not just that, we also observe. Well, do we really observe? But Valentine's Day, it's a big thing. So we don't really put much focus on Ash Wednesday.
Well, seriously, I'm not into the observance of Valentine's Day, because for me, every day, if you have your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, etc., show them love.
Your host,
not just
not
for
by taking the lollipop back.
Not just for one day. By the way, I took my lollipop, but I realized you're not making use of it. But those things are just commercialized. Too much about money, and people go out of their way to buy a red shirt or red pants or red panties or what have you. I don't know. This is just eating at whatever little monies that you have in your pocket. So
also the traditions, for example, Ash Wednesday or Lent.
Yeah.
These types of traditions. But someone in the chat said, Tim, life is too short. I'm not denying myself anything I enjoy for Lent. What about you, Tim? What are you going to deny yourself?
I am telling you, I'm not into this Lent thing. As a matter of fact, growing up at my community for show, for me that was so much of a sad period, sad moment of my life. During the Lenten period I'm talking about, during the Lenten period, because you had only maybe one or two radio stations. You had Radio St. Lucia and you had RCI, and both of them, they tuned down the music, Jim Reeves, and you hardly could watch anything of substance, on television or listen to a little Buju Banton, etc. You had no social media. So for me, I did not like Lent at all. So it's a good thing I will not say that. But anyway,
You'll say it later, Tim. But another comment in the chat room, someone says, the priest can't blame the media. The media is a business, the church isn't. One would hope that they aren't. Another comment in the chat, someone says, when will St. Lucians realize that any government who continues to show blatant disregard for law and order will never have respect for them, irrespective of what party they support? Someone says, I am still observing Lent. Another comment in the chat, why is the health minister hasn't explained to the people about the dangers of consuming sugar? Another comment, caller from D1, the Chamber of Commerce, told us that there wasn't any clear-cut proof that the levy was for health and security. But this was ignored or swept under the table while everyone kept quiet, only now for the PJP to admit it. Rick is right, we have no voices left in St. Lucia now, especially the voices that matter are supposed to matter, and that's dangerous. Someone says it is so stressful watching and listening to the House, referring to President of the NCOPT. Someone says your backs aren't against the wall, but what about your digestive system with those road meals? Someone says today is Ash Wednesday. Catholics go to church and pray before celebrating Valentine's Day. Another comment. Now I have a problem with the CMO. I am disappointed. CMO, why are so many people dying in St. Lucia? Do we have another COVID-19 outbreak?
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, before I proceed with my contribution, I want to say kudos to Rick, because whoever thought that Rick's mind doesn't work, I have to tell him whatever potion he's drinking for his mind, I would love some, because I would love to be at his age to be sharp like him. He saw right through it, right through it. Tim, I want to open the minds of some people this afternoon concerning what happened in the house there. Tim, I am not an investigator by any means. But Tim, I saw through that charade, because it was a charade. That bill, Tim, that 2.5% levy bill, when it was passed, the leader of the opposition was painted as a liar. He came on your show and he was advocating to the people as to why they put on that levy. People never believed. He was also saying that at this time he didn't think that that was a good idea. I think the Chamber of Commerce, was it the Chamber of Commerce? Yeah, one of them came and tried to denounce it, and however, we heard nothing of that. Tim, we need to pay attention as to what is really happening in our country. And we need to really pay attention to this particular government. Tim, those guys orchestrated that whole thing that happened in that house yesterday. They knew, if none of them spoke, they knew when the Prime Minister said what he had to say, the leader of the opposition would want to challenge it. Because they knew all along, they all lied to the public when they made that whole charade as to what that 2.5% levy was. We all remember what was happening in the house. All those debates making people believe, oh, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. It was, Tim, we cannot go past those nonsense and not look it up for what it is. The Prime Minister had to do what he did by yielding to the leader of the opposition. It was the right thing for him to do. However, he did it because he told us, for those that were not paying attention in the back of the class, the Prime Minister said it will be in Hansard. If you were to go back in Hansard, everyone would see a yield to the leader of the opposition. However, what he never told you, that the Speaker of the House never allowed the opposition leader to speak. Tim, we need to be careful. We need to see through the BS of this government. This government is failing the country, and they are really, really failing themselves. We all have seen it. And I think it's time that we tell this government that this charade, we're done with it. You cannot govern the country. You cannot do the business of the country. You need to get out. Have a good day, Tim.
Thank you so much.
Very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for calling, son. You're welcome. Question of the day: why all the borrowing by the Philip J. Pierre administration? Our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day: why all the borrowing by the Philip J. Pierre government? Let's continue. What's happening in the chat room, Kimani?
In the chat room, someone says, was it not this Prime Minister who complained when in opposition that the former Prime Minister was borrowing so much money? How come now he is borrowing at every sitting like it's the new style? I heard he has borrowed more money in 2 years than the former Prime Minister did in 5 years. In the chat room, someone says, the Speaker said he is holding his ground. Another comment. Let's see. That's it in the chat room, Jerry.
All right, thank you so much. WhatsApp message: seems that I've missed something. Can I ask what is wrong with the former Speaker of the House? Why is it Jeremiah, the Speaker now? Please enlighten me. I'm not too certain as to why The Speaker of the House, Mr. Claudius Francis, was not presiding over the proceedings yesterday. I really am not in the loop as far as the reason for his absence. Kimani?
Someone says, Tim, that was the good old days where everyone was respectful to each other. Another comment, the way things are hard already, whole year getting denied roads, food, medicine, sugar. What you want us to deny again? Another comment, the church is too quiet on everything happening in the country. That's it.
Did you hear someone in the background say get out when the leader of the opposition was walking out? Question being asked and via a WhatsApp message as we continue with your calls. I think we have a caller line. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello.
Monsieur Poleon.
Yes, I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you. Oui, ou aussi.
Ok, Tim. Débat qui a concerné moi. Numéro 1. Où ça la nation qui a un fou Western Union, c'est ça, right?
Oui.
Tim, qu'est-ce qui veut Western Union cette ici?
Ma sav sa ki ve yo. Ma av si Kimani sav because Kimani te kouye yo pa do rien. Kimani? Ok. Donc ma sav.
Il y a comme si les gens qui fait vous dire caca de famille l'autre pays, monde qui fait qui bilio non ils vont caler mon rien. Moi ça c'est un gros blague. Et Western Union c'est pas anti compagnie ça. Je vois là. So qui m'a il va venir filmer mon qui ça a fait là et mon tous les jours mon là pour espérer là yo some millionnaire yo pas yo die on so on ça c'est un gros blague. Now Tim la blague là na mauvais modèle là.
Ma have si ministre finance samedi yo pour dire bail qui agesse gouvernement ça fait ça. Consumer affairs. Okay. Because I think after people are being severely impacted by this, eh?
Yes. You know, and people waiting for the legal money. I mean, you just start there and they can get nothing. Now, Tim, I have a little concern. Tim, you know, I think some time ago, a guy got shot by government house. In the bottom, where they have this people selling the little craft funding for tourists, right?
Yeah.
Tim, I'm asking the question, Tim. Does the government house have cameras in the area? Anyway, they have cameras?
You're asking a question? Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have the answer for that question, sir.
Oh, okay. Tim, you know when I shot bus, it was bus louder, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking the question again. We have guards there. I mean, patrolling at night and watching the police around the clock, right? Didn't they hear anything but to go and people see what happening?
Well, that's the question I asked last week.
Yeah, because I find that strange, Tim. Because by me, Tim, when people birthday thing, people are running and scattering by me at night. That was so loud. You mean tell me a thing birthday and nobody hears a shot burst or something like that? That is an amazing thing. So you have a little concern, Tim, how that happened there. Nobody heard that. I mean, the people in the area there don't hear that, Tim. Anyway, Tim, near Bonjunega, sir.
OOC, what's up message? Hello, Tim. The focal point is not the walkout by the leader of the opposition, in my view, but rather the Prime Minister presented a 2.5% levy as going towards health and security. The Prime Minister needs to come clean with the country and state if any of the $10.5 million collected so far will indeed be used on health and security. Let me see if I have more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, is it pure coincidence that the participants of the baton relay are wearing 3 out of the 4 colors of the national flag? Food for thought. And some more of your messages. Let me see there. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, why don't give Jeremiah national security instead of Speaker of the House? 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages. We have sufficient time to take at least one final call. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hey, TB, what's up?
I'm okay. How about you, sir?
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kimani, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
In response to Upper Charles's question, the guards at Government House, the primary objective is to guard Government House, not what's on the outside, not what's happening on the outside. But that's not what I'm calling for. Maybe I served for almost 10 years as the Sergeant at Arms in the House of Assembly. And I served with two of the most prestigious speakers since independence, in the persons of Wilfred Sinclair Daniel and Matthew Roberts. And during my tenure as Sergeant at Arms, not once that I can recall these two gentlemen ever brought attention to themselves within those chambers. These gentlemen would call me for a briefing before every sitting. And they would advise me as to their expectations. Honorable Daniel, in particular, would have sat on his chair, his hand customarily under his chin, and his left hand, his left gloved hand, would be hanging over the left side of his chair. And anytime he wanted me to get involved in some proceedings or some actions within the House, he would signal with his left hand so that nobody would see him being the direct conduit between my actions and the chair. When somebody had to take his seat, he would signal me to go and put off that camera, that mic. Not once he would utter a word. Not once would he argue with anybody. Both of them were stern, but never drew attention to themselves. It would always be the Speaker of the Sergeant at Arms in the House would go around doing the bidding of the Speaker. But today, it is something entirely different. I do not know if there are some new standing orders or some new rules of the House of Assembly. The speakers are argumentative, speakers bring attention to themselves, speakers are no longer refereeing, speakers argue with the parliamentarians, which is a no-no. I really do not know what is happening. But some little advice for the opposition leader. In going to the House, he should be more open-minded, because that trap was well set, and he should have read it. He should have read between the lines. These modus operandi have been in operation since 2021, and he falls into it every time. Every time he falls into it. He should have anticipated that. He really, really should have anticipated that. That after the delivery by the Honorable Prime Minister, that nobody would have responded. So he should have taken a cue from that and be prepared to respond to the Honorable Prime Minister immediately upon the completion of his address. And him, I hope that's a lesson for him, and he come more prepared next time. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Let's see if we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, is the president of the National Council on Public Transportation working for the present government? Kimani, what's happening in the chat room? Your final report before we conclude the broadcast.
Someone says, call a nonsense. The security and health levy is being used for what it has been initiated for. Question, what percentage of the loan is for health? If so, then a percentage of the levy must be allotted to the loan. Another comment in the chat room, someone says, Mr. Daniel was pure class. I'm happy to have grown up in his time as speaker. Let's see what else we have in the chat room. Someone says, the Richard Frederick Steakhouse will get a facelift next year. They have plans on staying. Someone alleges that the guards at the government house were asleep. And that's it in the chat room.
Thank you so much for that update, Kimani. Finally, our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day. A new report says the world faces a dangerous decade as instability and military spending rise. A new report says the world faces a dangerous decade as instability and military spending rise. Our NewsSpin news of the day, and that's the broadcast on Power 97.9 FM as well as on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.